Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail, that would be me, and friends. And my friend tonight is Adie MacKenzie. Um, I have been working with Adie for about 2.5 years. Adie, it's been
Yeah,
a while.
getting close to three,
It,
I think. Yeah.
yeah, this fall it'll be 3 years. And we've worked together teaching courses. We've talked a lot about lipedema, and we just spent a lot of time together. So with that, what I want to say is, I always the way I introduce Adie is I take a look at her name, Adie MacKenzie, and then I see all of these beautiful capital letters with commas and hyphens, and I think, so often, like you can see mine, it says Gail Straker and it says BA of ED, which is basically Bachelor of Arts in Education, right? That's my list. And then I take a look at 80's list and I'm like, PTA? Yeah, I was a member of the PTA. I remember, you know. So what I love to do is I love to have 80 interact with me and explain what she is certified in, and um, how because she's an expert, and all of her expertise helps us be better with helps us take better care of ourselves. So when I see PTA, it's not Parent Teacher Association.
No.
It stands for
Physical therapist assistant. So basically, I have a 2-year degree because I was 50 when I decided to do that. And I thought,
kind of.
going to school for 7 years might be a bit much right now.
Okay,
So
so whoa, is that how long it takes to become a regular,
a
full
PT,
blown
doctor of physical
PT?
therapy. Yep.
7 years? Oh, I would have
Yep.
gone the 2-year route too,
Yeah.
because time's running short for some of us.
When you're
Once
50,
we,
you want to get down to it. Let's go.
especially, it's like, let me see, when I'm 57 and then I'm going to retire. Hey, I need to be out there. I need
Yeah.
to get going. So, um, physical therapy assistant. Okay,
Therapist assistant.
therapist
That's the,
assistant.
however you say it, it'll work, but that's like the
Okay,
official thing on my
okay.
degree,
Ooh, nice. And then it says LMT.
which is one of the ways of saying that I am a licensed massage therapist. I'm also board certified, but there's enough initials there already.
So you're
So,
a licensed massage therapist with your
mhm.
board certification. Okay. And then there is this other one that I've seen behind other therapists, CLT hyphen LANA, LANA. What does
Yeah.
that stand for?
So certified lymphedema therapist is what the degree says that we get when we certify, but it trains us in treating lymphatics. So we tend to say, since we're dealing with lipedema, we tend to say certified lymphatic therapist. And then
Okay.
LANA is the Lymphology Association of North America, and it's kind of it's a board exam to get that extra LANA behind the sort of the credential. And it is just basically a higher standard of knowledge and, sort of indicates that I have a higher standard of clinical knowledge.
Yeah, and so like you say, clinical knowledge. So meaning, oh, sorry,
That's
my
okay.
I would love to be able to throw it away, but I also have my notifications on my computer
Gotcha.
too, so it'll go patong. Okay, so certified, and we say lymphatic, but it's lymphedema
Yeah.
therapist, and and you get that board certification, or you get the higher standard of certification with the LANA. Okay. Then it says NBC. It says NBC HWC. What do those initials stand for?
That indicates that I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. And that is my most recent certification from about 3 years ago. That was my pandemic project. We all had our pandemic projects.
Right.
And I had done the training many years before that, but I decided over the pandemic to get the certification. And I'm telling you, that was a hard one. That was a hard test. Coaching is so gratifying and just a wonderful thing to get to engage in. But um, it's very specific. It's very
Right.
much about eliciting vision and desire from the client, um, and not just telling them what to do. So,
Oh,
as an
true.
expert in the field, it's really easy to just tell people what to do, and that's not what
Right.
coaching is about.
Right. So with the physical therapy assistant and with the certified lymphedema therapist, you and the licensed massage therapy, that's when you put the person in front of you, and it was very hands-on, very. Now I'm not saying there wasn't any like heart and talk and finding direction, but it was a very physical, hands-on career where you're on your feet and you're on, and you have clients coming through and rolling through
Yeah,
if you're scheduled, and then they schedule, and then you can physically see how that person is reacting to the therapy they're getting.
right.
But with coaching, that's almost like maybe not a total flip side, but it's almost all heart. It's almost all
Yeah.
um and not. Now if I needed physical therapy and a health and wellness coach, those are two separate things. So I would say, well, yeah, my legs are needing some work, but my life needs some direction, and I want to take it in a particular direction.
Yeah, I mean, I can help people with lymphatic dysfunction in the setting of health and wellness coaching, but
Mhm.
it's it just looks really different than if you're coming into my clinic and what we have is a short period of time and we're just going to get the bandages on and get the swelling down. That's going to be a different experience than doing coaching, which we can do virtually. I can't put bandages on people virtually, although I can train them to do bandaging virtually. Um, but it's really different. Coaching is much more about eliciting dreams, desires, and then setting steps to achieve those in a very slow, progressive manner. Oh, I just stopped hearing you. Uh-oh, what happened? I am totally not hearing you. What the heck?
Okay, so what happened is my headphone said,
Oh,
"Battery low, please recharge." So I turned them off, and it turned me totally off. So,
okay.
okay, now you everybody else can hear me as well.
I hear you now.
So what I see, I've had some coaching done, and I get coaching done. I have engaged in coaching,
Mhm,
um, and what I found was that I didn't know. I had no clue what my dreams were. I have
mhm.
spent so many years of my life just waking up and going, okay, let's go through the day.
Yeah.
Okay, I made it through today. I'm going to go to sleep now. Okay, I wake up. Okay, let's make it through today. And that's kind of, and at one point I thought, is this all there is?
Mhm.
Do I just wake up every morning and go through my day? And people say, well, what are your plans? I'm like, I have none. Well, they say, "Well, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail." I'm like, "No."
There's also just being in the moment, which is
Right.
perfectly valid.
But it's like it was so weird because these you hear these all these catchphrases, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"I didn't plan to fail, and I don't think I'm failing. I'm just barely making it through each day."
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have a direction that I was hoping to go. I didn't really have dreams. I didn't that I knew of, right? All my
Yeah.
dreams had been, well, Jiminy Criminy, my kids are all grown now. I have nothing. And that was a startle for me
Yeah.
when all of a sudden I didn't know which direction to go,
Yeah.
right? And
Did
so
coaching help you make that turnaround?
it it did. And it also actually helped me learn to say not so fast. I
Yeah.
can't keep going rat racy,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, I was just cranking through life, and yeah. So coaching really did help me slow down and look at life,
Yeah.
and gave me a sense of peace, actually.
That's lovely. That, I mean, there's so many areas of our well-being. You know, we have
Mhm.
to consider so many factors, our rest, our environment. And I'm actually looking at a wheel of wellness right now as I say these things, but nourishment, mindfulness, movement, all these different things are really important to our total overall well-being. And so in coaching classically, which sometimes, you know, coaching can look a little different depending on the situation, but classically, coaching starts out with an assessment of a current level of well-being, and then, you know, looking at what the dream might be, the vision for the future, and finding ways to just take steps that are achievable, that are smart, um, you know, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timelined. Those kinds of steps to get there. And it's a really effective way of achieving um, an improved well-being in a in
Right.
a in a actually a studied scientific studied kind of a setting. So it's a lovely thing to do.
Yeah, and so, with so many of us with lipedema, we feel like lipedema's caring for ourselves is a full-time job, as well as doing all the full-time jobs that we do, because
Yeah.
caring for ourselves, caring for our family, caring for, um, possibly their sick parent or a child, or, you know, our critters, our house. I mean, all of us seem to just be caring, 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 and we
Yeah.
think we think we're busy caring for ourselves. We think, okay, that's it. All I do is care for myself physically. But caring for ourselves as a human, with, learning where our passions lie, learning where our purpose, coming from within us, where it
Yeah.
goes, um, and finding that joy. And I really think that that's what coaching, gave me with the wellness coaching.
Yeah.
Um, I I didn't expect to do that. I thought, "Yeah, it's not gonna work."
You
But
surprised yourself.
I did. I
Yeah.
did. And, but especially with the, "Okay, well, wait a minute. Now I've gotta think about things." And in fact, as I was going through it, I also went through burnout,
Mm.
and, I found the strength as I was coming through that. I didn't realize I was going through burnout, but as I came through that, I actually found the strength to say, "This is what I need," to other people. And the coaching helped me say, "This is what I need."
So the coaching gave you some uh, um, ability to do a better job of self advocacy.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
love hearing that.
And that helped me that helped me say, "Okay, it helped me set boundaries that I wouldn't have been able to set before, because I was just busy taking care,
Yeah.
always. So anyway, so, with your clientele that you have,
Yeah.
do you have any, like, I don't know if it would be the word testimony be the right word, but do you have any place that you've seen some of your clients go that has been inspiring to you?
I think it's similar to what you're describing. People who are feeling and typically I do coach people with lymphatic dysfunction challenges. So it's a, you know, some kind of chronic condition that involves lymphatic problems. In my case, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and that was really what led me to want to do coaching, was to help other breast cancer survivors live their best lives because, here we are. We might as well get the
Yeah.
best out of it. But I have seen people lose anxiety, gain self-efficacy, and learn how to manage all of that survival stuff that you were describing, that getting through every day, just getting by, and take that to a level where they get up in the morning with purpose and passion, all those things that you mentioned. And that's what we want to see as coaches. We want to see people be able to live their dream to the best of
Right.
their ability.
Right. And I'm going to bring up, I want to say hi to the people in our audience
Yeah. Thanks for
because
joining.
we're going to stop on a message um, at the bottom. But Liz is here from Sydney. Hi, Liz. Kathy's here from New Jersey. Marcia's here from Texas. It's good to see you guys. Marilee's here from Chehalis, Washington. Marcia's going to go get her legs wrapped tomorrow. Right on, Marcia. Kristen's here from the Sacramento area. Carol's here from Maryland. And then Teresa, I'm not sure where she's from, Teresa Hamilton. But here's something that she says, and it's really, this is an interesting topic. It says,
Yeah.
I'm considering offering grief coaching for lipedema ladies. I was diagnosed last year after years of a mystery symptoms. I struggled with no one to talk to who understood my grief. I've been a pastor and a hospice chaplain for 6 years. And I want to say, oh, and Teresa says she's from near Kansas City. And I want to say many of us with lipedema go through a grieving process. I don't know that we jump for joy when we find out we have lipedema. I think some might, but overall, we don't jump for joy. We go, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle this? My life is, I can see, I went through okay, now you're telling me that all this work I've done all these years to try to lose weight, this is why I am not going to lose weight. And then it was like all hope was taken away from me,
Mm-hmm.
right? It didn't last for me. It didn't last very long, but I went into denial. Yeah, no, this isn't,
Not
this
me.
is not me, not me.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I went into okay, buckle down, let's get going. So my grief process was short, but it was there. And then when I finally talked to Catherine, then I was like, I could let everything out because someone was listening to me.
Yeah.
Finally, you know. And I think that that's what she's saying is like no one's there to talk to.
And
Yeah.
I agree. I think when you find someone who has the patience and the skills to listen effectively and
Mhm.
provide effective reflection and a direction, um, that is so incredibly helpful with whatever kind of diagnosis you are trying to come to terms with. And it's very helpful if you're talking to somebody who actually has some expertise in the realm, whether it's the lived experience, as we're talking about with Teresa, or
Mhm.
whether it's, in my case, I do not have the lived experience, but I do have the expertise in treatment, and I have the background in understanding the kinds of grieving that you're describing, Gail.
Right.
Um, so I think that makes a great counselor slash coach, and there is no shortage of need for people to do those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so if someone would like to, I'm going to pop this up. If somebody is like, "Oh, I would love to contact Adie," I'm gonna pop your email address up
oh
here,
yeah,
and I'm also going to put it in um, the comments so people can just click on it and email you because coaching is something. that that many of us can use. And especially when you establish a good relationship with that coach, and she knows how to, or he, but in your case, she knows how to help you find your direction. And I think that that's, and cheer you on all the way, right? And
Oh, yeah.
um,
Coaching is about 100% positive regard. It
oh
is
yeah,
only about, finding solutions. It is not about any shaming or none of that. None of the, you didn't meet your goal this week, bad you. That is never going to happen in coaching.
oh no,
It's
no,
going to be what
right,
impacted that. What was the reason that that didn't happen, and
yeah,
what can be done to improve the opportunity in the future. It's
yeah.
really, it's 100% positive.
Right. One of the things that my coach did for me, and like you say, it's 100% positive. So when I went in, I'm like, "Rah, rah, 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 and I didn't get this done, and I didn't do this, and that was my goal." And, rah, 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 rah. And she goes, "Okay, so let's take a look at what percentage." She made me sit down and look at
Oh,
and assign a percentage. Well, you didn't get that done, but what percentage of it did you actually visit? And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Did you think about doing it?" "Yeah." "Okay." Wait, do you realize, Gail, that that's you're thinking in the right direction. So what percent? And I'm like, oh, I achieved some of it, but I was just like, I didn't get it done. So I didn't do, and so she helped me get through the self grousing, because that's
yeah,
all I,
yeah,
right? I did that to myself all the time. And so she helped me realize, she actually helped me see my achievements,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
And it just was like, oh,
Just
okay.
reframe that.
Yeah,
Look
the
at it from a different
reframing.
angle.
And I want to also, I want to say hi to Annetta. She's here from Alaska. Annetta pops in all the time. Tamara's here. Um, and so is Karen from Michigan. Alfred Granz is here from Dallas, Texas area. And Winetta says this, and we can address this. The emotional component of lipedema is just as profound as the physical.
No kidding.
Yeah, and there's so much to work through, and isn't that for sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz also says this. I was angry and exhausted that for the many years no one professional thought to investigate as to why the weight wouldn't come off.
Yep.
And it's just that constant pushing down. You're not doing it right. I mean, even those of us in the low carb and the keto world, someone will say, well, maybe you aren't doing keto right. It's like, can we just turn that around and say, I find that when I eat this particular way, I swell. So let's see what I need to do about it. I mean, make it more like open-eyed and not pushing down on everything that we do, right? Um, Anne Marie's here also. Um, I was going to say her birthday was just yesterday, the day before. Anyway, um, let's see. Marcia says I have self-image issues, um, and yeah, so she has to actually see herself with lipedema rather than saying it's all my fault. It's all my fault. Um, let's see, and then we'll let you talk. Not one professional thought to investigate my condition.
Oh,
Yeah, not one.
yeah. And it's just going to take time before more and more doctors are alert and recognize it, and will know to ask that question, and will have the understanding of tissue texture and different kinds of clues that might help them think, aha, this might be lipedema. um, and I think that that is a perfect segue to talk about the thing that I want to talk about today, um, which
I
is
think it
the,
is
the
too.
webinar that
Yeah.
that I know there are a million webinars this month, and one of them will be hosted by Eros Medical, which is a pneumatic compression pump company for which I work. And we are hosting Dr. Aaron Adie from Vanderbilt, who is one of the very active researchers in the field of lipedema. He was, when I worked at Vanderbilt, he was somebody I could send my patients to get a diagnosis. I was so glad I had, a doctor who would be able to tell my patient whether or not my impression that lipedema was a diagnosis that might fit them, whether I was accurate. So he is going to do this webinar. It's free. Please join us. There is a link somewhere, I think in the beginning of the comments.
I just dropped the link to register for that.
Okay,
Just
great.
now in the
Yeah.
comments.
And it may say 2 different times on that link, but it's at 4. What Gail has posted is correct. 4 p.m. Eastern. So wherever you are, whatever is the same as 4 p.m. Eastern, that's when it is on the 19th, on Juneteenth. And Juanetta, thank you for that. Yeah, Vanderbilt, and he's Dr. Adie is very involved in that tissue repository. So that's all,
Right.
that's fantastic.
And we all have so much stuff happening this month. Everywhere you go, you're going to be finding a webinar, a conference, a get together, something like that. And so with Adie, Adie helped me get an Eros pump. And I love it. And so I love that this is hosted by Eros. You're facilitating or hosting it, right, Adie?
Yeah, I'll be the person introducing him and, helping with the questions.
Right. And that's wonderful. And it's on Wednesday. Let's see, not this
Wednesday the
coming
9th.
Wednesday, not this coming Wednesday.
Right.
It's the following Wednesday. I'm like,
Right.
okay, because today's only the 4th. Okay. I think it's still the
So
4th.
it's
Yeah.
2 weeks, 2
It's
weeks
in
from now,
it's in
basically.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
and that's really exciting. Now, I'm hoping that all of you guys reach in and register, and register even if you don't think you're gonna be able to make it, because I bet you anything, if you register, you'll be able to get a replay. What do
Yeah.
you think, Adie?
I feel quite confident of that. It is not going to say that on the registration page because
Okay,
they're really hoping to have a vibrant crowd attending. But
right.
the behind the scenes information I have received is that there will be a recording available.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just like this, right? We want you here live.
Right.
I don't want 24 people here live watching me right now. I want 100 or 200
Right.
or 1,000, right? That's what I
Right.
would prefer. But I will tell you what, I usually get 300, 400 replays
Yeah.
on this. And I'm grateful for that because it means that people are getting the information. So make sure you register for this one. I have a feeling you'll probably also have to give them your email address or
Yeah.
something like that. And
Yep.
then, of course, you'll get updates and things like that for all the things that they're doing. Now, with that said, I've got a couple of things that I would like to talk about. Adie MacKenzie and Lisa Fiedler this weekend on Saturday,
Yep.
the 8th. Is it this? Yeah, Saturday, the 8th.
Yep.
They are hosting an in person event. It's called a circle. Now, Adie, do you know how many people you have registered for that yet?
I think there might be 8 total registered so far, and that's
Wow.
double last year.
Wow.
So yeah, and I'm not going to even say we might have I will say we might have a celebrity researcher joining us, but I'm not going to
You're not
say
going to
for
say
sure
that.
because I don't want to put him on the spot. But
Okay.
we've had some nice response to it, and it's
Right.
very exciting. We're not going to do. Last year we tried doing a virtual in association with the in-person, and it just was confusing for everything. So this
Yeah.
is in person only, but if you're in Nashville on Saturday, we'd love to see you.
Now, I know it's going to be fun. I am going to put um, a link in for for all of them. So
Yeah.
this is how I want to talk a little bit about what we're calling them circles this year. So 80s Circle that she and Lisa are hosting is June 8th, Saturday, June 8th in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
I'm hosting one on Saturday, June 8th in Boise, Idaho. So we're gonna be doing them at the same time. I think. What time is yours?
Ours is at 2 p.m. Central.
And mine's at 1 p.m. Mountain. So they're gonna start at the very same time because we're in
Yep.
two different time zones.
Yep.
Anyway, so but wait a minute. Then there's one happening on Sunday, or a few happening on Sunday, and a few more happening the following weekend, and all all month long we are holding circles. And these circles are small gatherings. I dropped the I dropped the link in here so that you can see it. They're small gatherings where people can get together and meet each other in person. And where are you holding yours, Adie?
We're meeting at a Panera that is near one of the Vanderbilt campuses. And that's where we met last year. And it turned out to be a very good location.
Yeah.
They were very friendly to us, kind of helped us find a really good spot to sit. And it is wheelchair accessible. It's, Panera has reasonably healthy food if you can avoid all the goodies. Uh,
Oh, well, the one that I'm hosting is at Great Harvest. And Great Harvest actually has they do have some food. I mean, they sell a concentrated bone broth. They have
mm,
a they have a cupboard of local, not a cupboard, shelves of
mhm.
of local foods that people bring in and ask the owner, can I sell this here? And so they have a lot of local gifts and stuff like that. But we held it there last year as well, and we actually went outside and we held it on their patio. I had 3 people registered. I ended up with 6 people. Um, it's amazing. You sit down with people and you meet them and you hear what they have to say. You're
Yeah.
seen, you're heard, and then if you wanna be hugged, you get hugged,
Yeah.
right? Or you get patted, or you get smiled at and you actually feel the person's joy.
You
It's
get in the
really
energy field,
Yes,
that's a nice thing.
yeah, it's so much fun, and if there isn't one in your area, and this is this is how 80 started. 80's like, "Oh, I'll host one." So all you have to do, you just go, "I'll host one."
Yeah.
And then it never stops, right? But if you don't have a circle in your area, if you look at our list and you find that you don't have a circle in your area, you can always just write to us and say, "I wanna host one. I wanna host one in Milwaukee," or "I wanna host one in San Diego," or maybe someone wants to host one I don't know, maybe up in Anchorage, Alaska. Who knows, right? Right, Annetta? I mean, and you just pick your day of June. You just pick your time in June and you pick your location. Let us know and host one. And that's how easy these are to host. Um, yeah,
I wanted to do it because for several years, Lisa Fiedler, who's helping me with it, is someone I met. I think she was a patient of mine for a minute when I was at the lymphedema clinic at Vanderbilt, but she came to a support group that we had for lymphedema and lipedema here in Nashville that kind of folded around the time of the shutdown for the pandemic. Just we lost our location, but the meeting in person was so valuable, and I always saw how emotionally and educationally beneficial it was for the people who attended, their family members, their therapists. We just had it was open to everyone, and so this opportunity really turns me on because it's a chance to get in person with people again. Because most of what I do now is virtual in
yeah.
this kind of support situation.
And lipedema is well known for isolating people.
Mm.
You don't
Mhm.
get out as often, maybe your mobility is limited. You have to
Mhm.
rely on somebody to get to places. Um, could be that could be that there's just guilt and shame by
Mhm.
dealing with everything, because lipedema can be seen as disfiguring, and that you've
Mhm.
got this, these heavy legs, or it's warm outside and I don't want to wear my compression in the heat. I'm staying home all summer. I'm not going to the pool. There's all these things that we do because we have lipedema.
Yeah.
We don't expose our arms. We keep, there's just so many things, and we find ourselves um, isolating very often. And so being able to go to a gathering of other people with lipedema and not have to say, Um, yeah, my legs look like this because I have lipedema. Nobody understands. It's okay. You don't have to understand. Or I'm so embarrassed, because I mean, there's just so much, but you sit down and you go, okay, yeah, I'm with my ladies. I'm with my tribe, right? I'm with my group. And I feel like last year somebody walked in and I turned and I looked at them and we connected. It was like our eyes hit. She knew who I was, probably because she sees me on things like this,
Yeah.
but it's the way she looked at me. It was like, "Oh, here's another one of my lipedema friends," because she had had surgery. She very successful surgery, but it was the way she looked at me,
Yeah.
you know? I knew that she was one of mine. So it's a really cool thing. So please make sure, this is one of the things that Lipedema Simplified is doing this summer for Lipedema Awareness Month, is we're having these circles. So make sure if you have the chance to take a look at the link where it says heart to heart circles, take a look at that link, click on it, see if something is near you. I have someone driving over 2 hours to come see me on Saturday out here in Idaho, because she lives in a I thought I lived in Podunk, Idaho. She lives in really Podunk, Idaho.
Wow.
I mean,
That's dedication.
yeah, it is. And she's excited to meet me, and, yeah, so it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to meet everybody. And then, there's one more thing, and then we'll talk some more, 80,
Yeah.
because we do have these things that are happening. So 80 is facilitating an Eros Medical hosted webinar on Wednesday, the 19th.
Mhm.
Siobhan is facilitating a webinar on Monday, June 17th. So you have a webinar to go to on Monday and another one to go to on Wednesday.
It's gonna be a
Anyway,
busy week.
going to be a very busy week, very busy month. So it's a free webinar from the Lipedema Project. It's called Effective Strategies to Beat Carb Addiction with Dr. Nadir Ali and Siobhan Huggins. It's on Monday, June 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern. So it's at the same time. And it is going to be, so many of us deal with carb addiction. Now, if you've been in the low carb world at all, if you've dug around in the keto community, not Dr. Nadir Ali would be a very familiar doctor, very familiar name. He's a cardiologist, and he talks about his own personal experience with beating carb addiction. And so many of us do like to try to lower our carbs, especially if we find that they cause inflammation and swelling, and we're trying to, keep our inflammation lowered. If we find certain things that we keep going back to, this is going to be the webinar that you want to see on Monday. And then 2 days later, you can go see Adie's webinar on Wednesday, but start on a Monday. Listen to me. But anyway, so we actually saw him. My husband and I ran into him in Vegas at the Citizen Science um, conference, along with Siobhan and Leslin. We were all there together, and it was wonderful. And we talked to him, and at that time, he decided that he would come in and give us this webinar. So we're really excited about Dr. Ali being there, and um, and even though he doesn't directly work with lipedema patients, like that isn't his focus, he since he's been one-on-one with Siobhan, he's learning as fast as he can about lipedema. So he's really a good example of a doctor who goes, oh, lipedema, let me see what I can do to help.
Yeah.
And we want that. So, but he does talk about carb addiction. So with that, I'm going to drop that link into the chat as well. So let's see. What do we know? What do we know? Let me make sure I've got.
I'm going to have to wait for the recording from that one because I'll be on a plane at that
Because
time.
you'll be on a plane.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I got to make sure I can find this. I can find this. Let's see this link. Where did I put it? There I am. While I do this, you guys talk.
Well, I was going to talk a little bit more about the
Yeah.
pump because if anybody listening, probably everybody is familiar with pneumatic compression pumps, but you might not be familiar with Eros. And I'm not in a place where I can join the chat. It's making me log in and sign into things I don't know what to do about. But Eros Medical is a pump company that uses a type of technology where it's a loose garment that you slide on, and then when you push the button on the machine, it fills, and kind of there's an algorithm. When it feels the resistance of your body, then it starts going through its program. So it's not like getting into something that requires a lot of adjustment when you put it on. It's just kind of get it on and get started. So that's something I like about it. I like the fact that it's quiet. I like that it's lightweight. Gail has talked a lot about how easy it is to travel with. I'm really proud of the product, which is why I like to ramble on about it a lot, because it's also a compared to some of the other products on the market that are medically approved by the FDA for, the type of device that would get covered by insurance. If it's not covered by insurance, it's at a little bit lower price point than some of the competitive products. It doesn't hit the pocket. Well, I should say it's at a significantly lower price point. So it doesn't hit the pocketbook as hard. And I think that's good too.
I can tell you about this pump because I really like it.
I know you do. I'm so glad.
I really do. So first of all, I know you can't tell how big that is. I'm looking at this going, yep. So I would say that it's like if you were to take two college textbooks, and put them together, two big ones, that's about the size of the pump. So, it could be backpack friendly if you wanted it to be. So the pump itself is like this. You push a button. Once you have it set the way you like it, you push a button. It does its trick, right? And it goes through all of its processes. And there's a couple of things I love about it. I mean, just love about it. At least the one that I have an 8-chamber.
Mm-hmm.
I can turn off or turn down the pressure in a chamber. And I love that because when I first started using it, I would get anxious as the 8th chamber came up under my ribs, and I would start to feel anxious because I didn't know if it was, it's a new thing. I didn't know if the pressure was gonna stop. I had no idea if I was
Yeah.
gonna be okay,
Feels like
right?
being swallowed by an anaconda or something,
I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor, right?
and I
That
don't like
old
it very
that
much.
Silverstein that old Shel Silverstein poem. And so I turned off chamber 8. And it only took me a couple of days to get used to the feel of the pump. And I turned chamber 8 back on. I'm so glad I did. I love it. The other thing about it are the pants are so lightweight. The pants are, it's a garment that come, and it has zippers that go up both the fronts of both legs. All I do is I step into it. I step into it. I don't have to climb into it and adjust it. All I do is step into it. Zipper. I don't even unzip it all the way. I just zip it down to like mid mid thigh. Zip it back up. It's got plenty of room, and then I get in the recliner or a chair with a footstool, and then I just click, click. I plug in both of my little tabs, hit the button, but it's so lightweight that I put it in my carry-on.
That's
I have a carry
great.
it has its own little suitcase, right? It goes through I travel not a lot, but this year I traveled I had 6 flights in 5 months, and I took my pump. It
So
was like
nice.
I mean, I will and it's smooth, there's no straps, there's no adjustment, you slide into it, you plug it in. It's like, wow, and I love it.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy.
I'm so glad. I'm really glad that that worked out so well for you. I mean,
It
I love the pump and, my legs don't swell, but I'll put on the pants and pump just because it's like a nice massage. I do I have lymphedema in this arm, so I have the
Mhm.
upper body part to address that, um, but I enjoy it, and I'm really happy to hear that it's a
Yeah.
beneficial thing to you, and I don't mean to say that other pumps aren't good. There are tons of really good pumps on the market. I'm just really proud of my product, so
And rightfully so, and I was a little nervous about it because I thought, "Am I gonna use this? Am I going to, am I gonna" it's like compression for me. Um, there's only one good compression product out there, and it's the one that I will wear,
yeah,
right?
that's
That's the only one that's good for me, is the one that I will wear. Maybe
that's right.
there's several different brands, and maybe there but the only ones that work are the ones that I will wear, and the same thing goes for the pump.
Yep,
The only pump that's out there that's gonna work for me is the one that I will use,
yep.
right? And, I'm grateful that I was able to get the pump that I got, and, I I love it, and I feel like, it's made not just because it's lightweight, because I don't know that. I don't know what other how other pumps
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen Catherine's pump and her garments, and I was startled at how much space. I mean, the pump device is small, but I was startled to see how much space and how heavy her garments were. Now,
Mm,
it's a little older and it's not an Eros and it's, but yet, and I think she might have either 2 pairs of pants or maybe she has an upper thing too, I
yeah.
don't know, but it was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have space in my tiny little house for that much garment." You know? I mean, I can carry if my pump is not in its suitcase, I can just put everything in a grocery bag, in a reusable grocery bag. How cool is that? But I do like the way it feels. It's so those of you who have never used a pump, I'm sure all pumps are smooth and slick inside because you just slide in them. But I'll yeah.
They're all a little different, each and you were kind of describing that, the fabric that the part you wear is made out of is a little different from each company. So, there are a lot of choices out there and people have to go with what's available in their area,
Mhm.
what their CLT prefers, what their doctor prefers, a lot of different things. But, I just want people to know that the Eros is a great choice for some people.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so anyway, let's see. Do we have Juanetta says that her CLT is going to go on a very long vacation. So more pumping at home for her.
Yep.
And now I do have a question for you, and you might be able to help explain this. So some
Okay.
people ask the question like, if I pump, do I also need to go to see somebody for MLD?
Hmm.
Or can I trade off and on, pump one day, MLD the next? I mean, how do we make those decisions?
That is a very good question because there is no one answer. There is no one size fits all way to do things. Um, in general, what I tell people is it's really helpful to just keep track, sometimes to keep a journal with what you are doing and what you are noticing in response. Um, I think for most of us, the most important thing we can do is deep breathing, movement, hydration, and manual lymph drainage and pumping are additional and beneficial.
Oh,
But if it's a choice between a session of pumping or taking a walk, I would say take a walk.
take a
Um,
walk.
just for example, I mean, for some people that's not feasible, but for those of us who are trying to make a decision between should I pump twice a day, should I do self MLD and also pump, you know, your activity is your most important lymphatic pump. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously if we have an impaired system and it's not efficient enough to have the activity itself be enough, or if certain of the activities that we do trigger a certain amount of outflow that we want to fight back against, then we make a choice to spend a certain amount of time treating that.
Yeah,
But I don't think that people should find it to be a barrier to enjoying their pump or their MLD or taking a day off, listening to the shoulds, because if we try to engage in everything we should engage in every day, then where is the time to, smell the flowers, enjoy life, play with the
right.
kids,
Yeah.
Does that answer that
I,
kind
I
of?
think I think so. And we're going to take one last question. It's from
Yeah.
Gloria. Would a vibration plate be beneficial? And I have a vibration plate. I haven't been using it recently, just because I haven't. Just because I haven't.
Yeah.
Right? Um, but I can tell you, the best thing my vibration plate did for me um, was give me a boost in my energy.
Hmm.
I mean, 5 minutes on that vibration plate when I needed it lifted my spirits, gave me, um, it did something to me. It boosted my energy.
But you pointed out something important. That's the one thing I want to say, Gloria, is that a vibration plate, probably without knowing your entire medical situation, it's impossible to say, yes, go get one. Um, but for most of us, there's a way that we can safely use a vibration plate. And like anything else, I would just suggest start slow. Take 5 minutes. Use it for maybe 3 minutes. Do you need to stand on it? Not necessarily. Maybe you just put your feet on it. Maybe you put it on, maybe it's on a platform where you can rest your legs on it. But don't overdo new
Yeah,
activities until you
yeah,
know how you're going to respond. Because some people, for example, if you have mast cell activation syndrome, for some people, the vibration plate is a trigger. So, just be kind to yourself and give yourself a chance to adapt to something
yeah.
that you try that's new.
And what was interesting, because I was one of those gung hos. No, nobody understands that about me. Anyway, I was gung ho. I was ready to go. Okay, I got my vibration plate. And then I started looking about, well, how long do you use it?
Yeah.
Because it comes with instruction, but it has like this buff dude with his stretch bands and his weights, and he's doing all these. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's not me on my vibration plate, right? I'm using it for lymphatic stimulation, flow, and care, for. And I found out on the with the Life Pro is what I had, the Life Pro waiver. And I said, I found out that 15 minutes was enough total, completely was enough, no higher than 40, setting number 40, and that it was really okay to do a minute and a half and make sure it was oscillating. And you don't have to do it fast, just a
Yep.
soft, gentle vibration. And you don't have to stand on it. I could sit on it, except I couldn't get off of it because it was too low.
Yeah.
But one of the things I discovered is I could sit on the edge of my garden tub, put my feet on which I don't get in and out of, I just sit on the edge of, put my feet on the vibration plate, and then put my hands together like this and my elbows on my knees. And my whole entire body shook. And I wasn't standing on it. I was sitting down with my feet on it, my elbows on my knees. And
I love that. I'm going to try that. I have the Life Pro as well, and I love it. But I don't use it often enough. And I got it more for bone health because it's
uh-huh.
also, I have osteoporosis and it's also supposed to be beneficial for that. So I need to
Yeah.
get back at it.
And here's Teresa. This is what Teresa does. She uses her vibration plate every morning as I sit in bed and read and drink coffee. I love it. I put my legs up on it with a soft blanket for cushion because it hurts if she stands on it. And see, I have a knee replacement, and someone told me as long as you're 6 months out of your knee replacement, which I'm 15 years out, but as
Mhm.
long as you're 6 months out, the vibration plate's okay. Now, do I have um, deep vein thrombosis? No. So I don't have blood clots. Do I have heart problems? No. Do I, there's this list of things that
Right.
you maybe want to check to see if it's contraindicated, you know?
You
Um,
know, that I do wanna go back to the pump for a minute because like anything else, there are contraindications. So there are contraindications for the vibration plate, for certain kinds of exercises, all kinds of things. With the pump, you need a prescription to get a pump like the Eros pump. You can go on Amazon and you can buy a pump that's designed for recovery from exercise. That's not designed as a medical product. So I can't speak to the effectiveness or the safety of those devices. That's not what they're FDA approved for. Um, but if you're going to get an FDA approved medical device with or without a prescription, with or without insurance purchasing it, you're going to need a doctor's
yeah,
prescription for it.
yeah.
And
We
yeah, to make sure you don't have the contraindications as well.
yeah,
Sorry.
and it's then there's so many things that we have to make sure we take care of. I mean, like we're talking all these physical things, right? With the um, with the pump, with the MLD, with the vibration, with compression. We really need to be aware because even compression, when I ordered my first over the counter compression, I'm gung ho. Okay. So I pull it out of the package and I put it on. And I'm like, okay, I've only worn it for an hour. I'm going to go to bed. So I didn't take it off. And I woke up about 2 hours later going, I probably shouldn't be wearing this right now. Because I had creases around my knee. So I had tourniquet effect going around I mean, because you know what? I wasn't using my wisdom. I was just gung hoing it. And so I learned the hard way most of the time. I just
But you learn when you learn.
I learned. I mean, I have driven in places I shouldn't drive my car.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that because
because I'm like, oh, cool, let's go over here, let's go do this. And so I I have learned a lot with Lipedema Simplified, and one of the things that I have learned to say is don't just go doing it willy-nilly,
Yeah.
right? Take care and understand there are contraindications. I'm not going to just take a supplement. Oh, what supplements does someone recommend? Well, who knows what medications I'm on,
Right.
right? I'm not going to do even with vibration plate. I'm not. Yeah, I double checked to make sure I could use it with a knee replacement. But I've got two pacemakers in this house.
Mhm.
They're not in my body, but two people. And one of them was on the vibration plate the other day. And I said, "Did you know there was a contraindication to that vibration plate and your pacemaker?" Off
Good
you
catch, Gail. Good catch.
off you go. Get off of it. Don't use it again. So, there are certain things that you just gotta slow down.
Yeah. And so, when you're going to get any of these things, just make sure that you do that part of the research,
Right.
because it's a waste, it's a waste of money. You know, um, energy wise, like what I didn't pay attention to was my lifting capability. So my vibration plate is really heavy. It needs to stay on the floor. I can't put it on a bed or anything. So I'm thinking about buying a lighter weight one. But, there are just so many pieces to pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and you need to talk to your doctor, Gloria. You need to know if they feel like it's safe for you. Uh, it, I, I don't know that it is unsafe for everyone with a
right.
pacemaker. I do know that other kinds of oscillation, like using the handheld devices that provide deep oscillation and run a static electricity through your body, that is considered an absolute contraindication
Yeah.
for a pacemaker.
Yeah. So I do have a story about that one too. So my husband, not the other one, but well, not that I've only had one husband, but not the other pacemaker. Not the other pacemaker in the family, but the one that's hooked up to my husband. Um, my husband hurt his thumb on playing baseball in January, and they start doing that. Like, what is that? Where they hold they have a clip and a wristband and electricity, and they put the other thing on you, and then they touch you, and
But I
I
mean, it's the same
yes,
technology. It's
it
deep
was that.
oscillation.
Yes, it's the same thing, right? And he's in there, and of course, it feels phenomenal to my husband. My husband has one thing in his hand over here. This guy's working on his hand over here. And I'm like, that's his left arm, and it's going around this direction, right? And I'm flipping through, and I was telling somebody, how good it feels, and oh, he was loving it. And I'm like, what is this thing? And so I plugged it in, and I'm like, do not use if you have a pacemaker.
Yep.
And I'm standing there. He was in Oakland A's baseball camp, and this was a trainer who was working on his hand,
Yep.
and he's laying there, no shirt on, but his pacemaker is very shallow, so it's popped up here, and that guy was using that thing on his hand, and I looked at Guy, and when he walked away, I said, "Guy, you're not supposed to be using it if you have a pacemaker." And he goes, "Oh."
Yeah. The pacemaker manufacturer has specifically said that it is not safe. So,
Right,
it's an absolute contraindication for that. As far as a TENS unit, I don't know. I think that would be a case by case thing. The TENS unit isn't sending electricity like a static field through your whole body, but it
right,
is sending electricity into your tissues, and I
right.
would want permission to use it.
Right, but that one was when Guy was holding the lead over
Yep.
here. I'm thinking, "Dude, get off the table."
Yeah. It feels fabulous. It does feel
It feels phenomenal. So, I think that that's where we come in and say, first of all, we're not doctors. We we have no we have no uh, this is our disclaimer, right? But please be careful, you know? Please be careful and double check. It doesn't take that long.
And so Gloria is saying that she's told she can use the TENS unit below her waist, if that's what
Yeah.
you're told. Then,
Yeah.
you have to go with the providers who are working with you and trust them. And you can't, like some talking head on YouTube, you can't trust what I'm telling you to
Right.
be specific to you. You have
Yeah.
to go with the people who know you.
Yeah.
So I can give you general information.
Yeah, don't take our word for it. Take your doctor's word for
Right.
it.
Yeah. And nothing I say should ever contradict anything your therapist says. If it sounds fishy to you, ask your therapist, ask me, but don't go out and act on it, That is, I try to remember to say that every time I'm talking about
I know.
therapeutic items, because I think it's easy to get enthusiastic and just run right off and start to make changes to the way we do things that might not be appropriate for us. It might be
Right.
great for your next door neighbor, your best friend, and not good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, Adie.
We can talk, can't we?
Yeah, we can. I mean, these people are going, will they ever shut up? Gail and Adie again. So we've gone over an hour, which is very normal for us. But we do need to wrap it up because you have a life, I have a life, and our audience has a life. And
Yes.
so we're gonna end this. Otherwise, well,
We'll be here all night.
I told somebody last week, you know what? I think we're gonna have a sleepover. We're gonna run a
We
marathon.
need to have camp. We need to have camp.
So anyway, Adie, thank you so much for being on with me tonight. And as always, before I close, I always ask my guests to share one message that they would like to hear echoed around the world. And so, as you know, I'm going to offer that to you as well.
I think what I'd like to hear echoed around the world in the month of June is the message of what lipedema is being shared with medical providers. That's the message I want to hear echoed around the world, because I think our medical providers are well-meaning, well-intentioned. They study so hard to become doctors, nurses, physical therapists, but they don't get every single piece of information that they need in that training. So sometimes we have to educate our providers.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, and that is self-advocacy.
Yes,
So
that's
as we train and stick to our guns and make sure people hear us, we're kind when we do it. We don't yell and smack them around. We're we might have to stand up and keep standing up and keep getting in their faces, but we do need to educate our health care providers, making sure that we get them good information.
Yeah.
And
it's out there. It's on the Lipedema Project has things that we can share with them. The Lipedema Foundation. There's all kinds of medical literature that is prepared that's designed to educate medical providers.
And we actually have a proposed framework for research, and so we do have it here at Lipedema Simplified Lipedema Project. So just make sure that that we know what we know, right? Educate ourselves and educate our providers, educate our friends, educate our family, so that we get the best care that we possibly can get. So thank you very much, Adie. Thank you, everybody who interacted with us. This has been fun. Love the questions, love the comments, and we can't wait to see you all the way through Lipedema Awareness Month. June's going to be a blast. But thank you very much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon.